Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to a brand new episode of What If Deku Was an Artificial Human. All for one preparing Noumu decides to deviate from his normal methods to try and make a new type of Noumu. Sentient Noumus, Noumus that could think for themselves. However, a young Shigaraki expresses want for a sibling. So he decided to kill two birds with one stone. However, to do this, he required one to be younger than Tomura and to have no quirk. If you guys enjoyed this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel. After watching this video, don't forget to shower some appreciation onto the incredible author responsible for this fanfiction. The link is conveniently waiting for you in the description box down below. Before we get into it though, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So let's start this video. Today was the day of the grand event. The day of the sports festival. Many people from over the country came to the event. However, this year would all be on the freshman year mainly due to the news of Class 1A having thought villains, since they have the fervor to prove themselves during their last chance, and the experience to hatch decent battle plans. It's usually the seniors who are in the spotlight, Kamui would said, but this year, it's the freshmen who are getting all the attention, Mount Lady said as she went to get some takoyaki. However, in the end, she ended up using her sex appeal to get a free meal. How shameless. But it was pretty great though. We too came with the intention of scouting, but Kamui started as he looked at how packed it was. The security is just too thick. Oh well, said the pro hero called Deathguru. Wow, it looks like they're attracting pro heroes from all over the country, Mount Lady said as she shamelessly ate her takoyaki. In the 1H waiting room, Izuku was sitting with Joker and Hatsum, with the latter wearing some of her babies over top of her gym outfits such as her hover saws and her wire arrow along with a harness of some description. She still had her goggles and gloves though with the sleeves rolled up. Wonder if she could run in those big metallic boots. They did have turbines in them, so maybe. However, for the other two, they just wore the gym outfit without any added gizmos their companion had on. As Hatsum tinkered away, Joker had nudged Izuku in the side. "PST Izuru," he whispered. "Yes, Joker? Doesn't that harness make her, more noticeable?" Izuku understood what he was saying. It was hard not to notice without anything going on. "Yes," was the sole reply from the dark purple-haired teen before blood spout out of his mouth. Again. "Hey, don't force yourself, okay? Nah, I want to see the look on the hero kid's face when a support course member beats them," he truthfully told the clown. "Besides, I don't want Shinso to one-up me either." "A rivalry already?" the clown asked as the other male shook his head. "No, not a rivalry. We just have the same goal is all. Besides, those hero kids need us for our skills in upgrading their costumes. So they shouldn't look down on the hand that feeds. If you say so, it's time," Yamakumo said as he stood. "Let's go and bring home the gold." Those in 1H walked out onto the field where they would be participating in the festival. There were a lot of people here. The U-Data Sports Festival, where the hero worlds and Koet little eggs aim for each other's throats, and the top. "Our grand yearly melee," a familiar voice announced. He was having way too much fun announcing. "And let me guess, all you miscreants came to see them, right?" he asked. "The freshly formed miracle stars that shrugged off a mass villain assault with wills of steel. The Department of Heroics freshman class. You're here for Class 1A, right?" Izuku frowned as he listened to the hero. "Fend off a group of villains? Yeah, right. But they were all injured, aside from the ones that weren't warped. So that shouldn't be called shrugged off, and not to mention, the ones they thought were just mooks." He was equally in terms with a weakened All Might who is progressively getting weaker. Sure, All Might defeated him in the end by going beyond 100% of his power. But he came back. And if the other heroes didn't show up when Tomura and Kurojirai attacked or when he came back after recovering midair, All Might would have died. Now just for present mixed speech about shrugging off the villain attack? He wasn't going to hold back. If they bled, they bled. If they got broken bones, they got broken bones. Tomura and he could have easily killed those brats. Kurojirai could have too, but he didn't like blood getting inside his warp gate. "Man, they're treating us like we're just their foils or something. What a load," were some murmurs from Shinso's class as they approached the center of the arena they would be at for the day. However, when the tiny class of 1H saw who was going to be chief referee for the day, they hands meet with their faces. No wonder she wanted her class to win. She was the chief referee, that and she was their homeroom teacher. So it was only natural, but still, the men in the audience seemed to have a good time. "Hey, check it out," asked a hero in the stands. "If it isn't the 18+ only heroine, Midnight. She's the chief referee for the freshman stage this year. Where's the principal?" Another asked. As usual, he's overseeing the senior stage. Nice. Now, fair play, Midnight said as she cracked her whip while standing in that pose of hers. Maybe they got to her self-conscious more than they thought. They were such a ruthless and savage class. What's Midnight-sensei wearing? Asked a blushing Kirishima. Wait, 18 plus only? Even though this is a high school. Is that really okay? Asked Tokoemi. That's an rated hero for you, Kaminari said. She's our homeroom teacher, Izuku said next to them, and his sigh shot out blood. Eh? Really? They asked as Izuku just nodded. Midnight cracked her whip once more. Silence! My tenure here is perfectly fine. I deal enough with my class. Speaking of which, show your sensei some respect. You were all fine yesterday. She shouted more at her class than anyone else. Now, player rep, please come up. Katsuki Bakugo of Class 1A, she said as said teen walked up onto the stage. Sensei. He started with his hands in his pockets. I'm gonna place first. Man, I knew he was gonna do that, shouted Kirishima. Don't push your luck, Class A. Why do you insist on lowering our good graces? Asked Ida, who also scolded the Ash Blonde. You'll all make fantastic stepping stones, I'm sure, the Ash Blonde said as he made the death sign with his thumbs slowly going across his throat. Poor delusional fool, Izuku thought with a grin. It's going to be fun to knock you down back to earth, Joker gulped as he saw Izuru's grin. This kid's unbelievably overconfident, said the same Class B kid from before. I'm gonna be the one to crush him. Good luck. But if you don't, then I'm gonna do it, Izuku thought as his grin turned back to a smile as Joker calmed down. Alright. With that we can move directly onto our first event, Midnight said as she gestured to a screen. Wow, never an idle pause at Udare, Uraraka thought. Onto the preliminaries, as they're called, the referee said. Lots of fine folk end up choking on their tears here every year. And this year's first round of Destiny is. The screen spun around before stopping. This, she said as she pointed, not bothering to look at it. It was an obstacle race. It's a race between all 11 classes, she declared as the gates opened. The course makes a nearly 4-kilometer ring around the stadium. We always sing about our freedom on campus. Well, this is what it's all about. You're free to do anything, so long as you remain within the course. The group of students lined up at the starting line ready to go. Hey Izuru, Kumo, Izuku turned to see a nervous Joker. Yes? Sensei told us to get into the finals and win, right? She did. Feeling nervous with the hero kids? He asked, getting a nod from the clown. Don't worry. For the first 2 events, we just need to qualify. You're way too hyped for this, Kumo. Izuku shrugged as Midnight spoke once more. So let's get cracking. On your marks, start. Izuku grabbed Joker as the rest of the group ran forward. Huh? Joker muttered out as he saw Izuku hold him back with Hatsum. Why did you stop me? Look at the entranceway, Izuku said as he walked to the other side of Hatsum. It's way too cramped to get through. But didn't we promise Sensei we get into the 3rd event? We did. But only one of needs to get to 3rd event or win the whole thing, he said as he took Hatsum's hand. I got an idea. Take Hatsum's hand. As Joker did as he was told, he looked at Izuku questioningly. Why are we doing this? He immediately regretted as he smirked. Let's fly, Hatsum. You got it, Yami. I made a mistake trusting you. They ran forward, and when they jumped, Hatsum activated her hover saws as they took to the skies. Joker seemed to get the idea. Once they were halfway over, Izuru and Joker placed their feet on the walls as they all ran to the end with Hatsum's hover saws boosting them. Midnight wiped an invisible tear from her eye. Her kids were so smart. We cleared the first hurdle, Izuku said. But we still have a long way to go. However, they came across ice. Nothing too difficult as 1, the hover saws for Hatsum, and 2, skating. It looked like Yamakumo was skating as he traveled on the ice. And he was pretty fast too. He easily got off the ice as President Mike announced the threat of the obstacle course. Here come the obstacles, and so suddenly. And from the very outset, the first barrier will be a Robo Inferno. There were many robots of various points. The 1, 2, 3 and even the 0-point robots as well. It's the villain bot that was worth 0 points in the entrance exam. Hold on, you're telling me the Department of Heroics kids had to fight those things? There's way too many of them to slip past. So it's these villain bots they use for these types of trials in general, huh? Todoroki said. Where do they get the funding for all of this? Wondered Yayarozu aloud. That was a pretty good question, but that would be for another time. Todoroki started to freeze the ground as Azura had ran past without a care that the robots were trying to stomp him. What's he doing? Todoroki thought as the clown ran after the purple-haired teen. The robot's foot slammed down, creating dust before the clown watched as Izuku manipulated his hands so that drills could come out as he drilled through the robot. Just because I can grow multiple arms with ingrown tools on my back doesn't mean that I can grow tools from my normal hands. He smirked as the drills went back into his skin. Todoroki had just frozen the robot and continued on before the robot fell to inconvenience the ones behind them. The half-hot, half-cold user glared at the two ahead. 1H's Izuru Yamakumo is in the lead after the impressive display at the start, with Sozoshi Fukudashi of the same class right behind him, or as we call Joker. President Mike shouted. However, 1A's Shudo Todoroki is right behind them after just freezing the robot and blocked off all the others. That kid's harsh. You're quite fast, Joker. Izuku noted, seeing the clown behind him, and he wasn't even using his augmented speed. Thanks. The first round's obstacle course is underway, and the goal is to run one lap around this special-made stadium's outer ring, President Mike said. The rules are simple and savage, much like Midnight's homeroom students. Aside from leaving the course, this is a bona fide chicken race where anything goes. The camera bots installed in each area can barely contain their excitement. Come on, you can do it. Aim for the legs, beat those humans and whatnot. Wow. Go fathers and mothers, the camera bots said, while rooting for the robots and the support course kids that helped build them. You don't really need me here, do you? Asked Aizawa, whose whole face was covered in bandages. There was some kind of commotion behind Izuku, and he wasn't really going to look back. Class A's Kirishima got crushed, he heard President Mike shout. Class B's Tetsu also got crushed. We love you, man. And 1A's Bakugo has abandoned the ground and vaulted over their heads. Clever that, the hero kept announcing. As expected of those who've run past, lots are from Class A. Izuku kept running till the next obstacle. Izuku stopped as he looked over what President Mike called the fall. Well then, if the first barrier was such a cinch, then what do you think of the second? He shouted. You fall and you're out. If you don't like that idea, maybe you can crawl. It's the fall. It was just a glorified tightrope walk. Izuku jumped on the rope as he started to make his way across the tightrope. Fufufu, now's my chance to up my appeal. The laughter of Hatsum got Ashido and Uraraka to turn their heads. It's time for M support items to bask in the limelight. Lo and behold, support companies of Japan. The Wire Arrow and the Hover Saws. She grinned. What? You can take items into the race? They asked. Department of Heroics kids routinely receive actual fight training, right? She asked. Just to keep things fair, we're carrying just those items and costumes that we developed ourselves. They've given equipment the okay, or so they'd likely say. For Department of Support kids like us, this is the chance to show off the engineering we conceived and developed to appeal to the corporations. Fufufu. Hatsum shot the wire arrow and jumped while activate her hover saws. So keep watching, and I hope the company that's watching is a big one. This is my super cute baby, damn it. Stupid equality, muttered Ashido. That's something alright. Shinso smiled. Even though he knew Hatsum for the shortest time out of his group's circle, he seemed to have expected this. As Izuku continued running, Todoroki was right behind him, and Bakugo was flying up towards them both. However, it seemed those in the stand were talking about the support course student. Man, that kid's from 1H, right? He's doing quite well to stay in front of the son of Endeavor. Yeah, the son of the number 2 hero. A sought-after sidekick. But that support course kid, he's doing well. Shame he isn't a hero kid, otherwise I'd get him as my sidekick. A hero added. He has no devices on him, and I have yet to see him to use his quirk. The murmurs grew as they talked about the support course kid. Talks of how he could improve their costumes, and what it meant seeing he was beating the hero kids easily. And now we come to the hidden final barrier, President Mike shouted. Its true form is none other than the minefield right out of Rambo 3. Don't shout that. That's copyrighted, Joker shouted. It's set up so that if you look carefully, you can see where the landmines are placed. Strain your eyes and feet. President Mike grinned. In any case, they're landmines. They're not overly lethal, but they bang big and bright, so you'll definitely knock a stool or two loose. Obviously that depends on the person, Aizawa added. However, Izuku allowed Bakugo and Todoroki to pass as he got his drills out of his hand again. Joker, got any grenades on you? Huh, yeah? He nodded in response. Smoke, flash, laughing gas, sleeping gas. Throw down a smoke now! Joker pulled out the smoke bomb and set out a large gray cloud. During this time, Izuku drilled into the ground and under the bombs. Joker threw a bomb to block the entrance. the teen ordered. Joker pulled out the grenade that could do the job and set it off behind him. Meanwhile in first, Todoroki and Bakugo fought with themselves when suddenly Izuku sprung out of the ground and began running. Amazing! Izuru Yamakumo of 1H had just tunneled underground. Present Mike shouted. With the help of his classmate Joker right behind him, they not only hit it, but from the sounds of it, they blocked it off. Get ready, Joker! The support course teen warned his partner. Ha! Todoroki and Bakugo put their differences aside as they ran after the support teen in front once more. Izuku, Bakugo and Todoroki were neck and neck. We can see the three neck and neck and neck! Present Mike shouted. What will happen next? Who will come first? Izuku threw his right hand back as he used his left hand to pull Bakugo's collar back, and used his right leg to push back Todoroki's leg to make him trip and Bakugo stop flying with his quirk. Fly like the clown you are, Buggy! He shouted as he swung his right arm as he was holding on to Joker. H! Curse you Straha, I mean Izuru Yamakumo! Joker shouted as he was thrown into first place. Amazing! What amazing cooperation! Present Mike praised. Izuru Yamakumo had just thrown his classmate Joker into first place. And in tripping both Todoroki and Bakugo, he came in second, and now they're all steadily crossing the finish line, one after the other. We'll compile the results later, so for the time being enjoy your breather. We did it. Joker breathed out. I can't believe you threw me like that. You liked it, Buggy. Izuku smiled as he spouted blood. How long did you hold it in? PFT, I'll never tell. After a while, Midnight began to announce the results. And so it's over. Now everyone, here are the results. Midnight said as she showed the results to the masses. First place, Sozoshi Joker Fukudashi of Class 1H. Second place, Izuru Yamakumo of Class 1H. Third place, Shudo Todoroki of Class 1A. Fourth place, Katsuki Bakugo of Class 1A. Fifth place, Ibara Shiozai of Class 1B. Sixth place, Juzo Hananuki of Class 1B. Seventh place, Tenya Ida of Class 1A. Eighth place, Fumikage Tokoyami of Class 1A. Ninth place, Hanta Siro of Class 1A. 10th place, Aijiro Kurishima of Class 1A. 11th place, Tetsu of Class 1B. 12th place, Mashireo Ojiro of Class 1A. 13th place, Yasetsu Owaze of Class 1B. 14th place, Sayuri Ajri of Class 1A. 15th place, Meza Shuji of Class 1A. 16th place, Rikadu Sadu of Class 1A. 17th place, Ochako Uraraka of Class 1A. 19th place, Minoru Mineta of Class 1A. 20th place, Mina Ashido of Class 1A. 21st place, Kuji Kuda of Class 1A. 22nd place, Kyuka Jairo of Class 1A. 23rd place, Senkaibara of Class 1B. 24th place, Kozai Tsubiraba of Class 1B. 25th place, Denki Kaminari of Class 1A. 26th place, Kojiro Bando of Class 1B. 27th place, Reiko Yanagi of Class 1B. 28th place, Hitoshi Shinso of Class 1C. 29th place, Itsuka Kendo of Class 1B. 30th place, Jiroda Shishida of Class 1B. 31st place, Shirhai Kurwaro of Class 1B. 32nd place, Yui Kodai of Class 1B. 33rd place, Hiryu of Class 1B. 34th place, Mei Hatsum of Class 1H. 35th place, Kinoko Komori of Class 1B. 36th place, Tagura Kamakiri of Class 1B. 37th place, Nito Monoma of Class 1B. 38th place, Pony Tsunatori of Class 1B. 39th place, Tura Hagakura of Class 1A. 40th place, Setsuna Takage of Class 1B. 41st place, Manga Fukudashi of Class 1B. 42nd place, Yuga Aoyama of Class 1A. The 42 at the top have earned the right to advance, Midnight said. I'm sorry for the kids who failed, but take heart. This festival's showstopper is still being prepared. And now for the post-preliminaries, the final section. From here on out, even the press corps will teem in a white heat of excitement, so go all out, Midnight shouted. Now then, on to today's heart-pounding second event. I already know what it will be, but the suspense is killing me. What could it be? Well, I'll tell you. Behold. She pointed at the screen. It was a human cavalry battle, but that's not a game that works with players playing as individuals, Ajiri said with a finger on her chin. How will it work? Also call me Tsuyu. Who are you talking to? Don't worry about it. You can all form 2 to 4 person teams freely and form a horseback configuration, Midnight told the students as she was filled with pride as 3 of her students managed to get into the second round. Basically, it's the same rules as a normal human cavalry battle. Swipe enemy riders' headbands and guard your own. Except for one thing, everyone will receive points based on their performance in the last trial, Shuji said. If it's anything like the entrance exams point system, then it'll be easy to understand. Sada nodded, which means that the point value of each human warhorse will change based on who's in it. Joker said, "Don't say what I was gonna say before I can," she shouted at them all. "But yes, that's right. And the number of points you're worth will be 5 points if you placed 42nd place, 10 if you placed 41st, 15 for 40th place, and so on, with the exception of first place, whose head is worth 10 million points." Joker died on the spot. 10 million? The clown stuttered. While everyone had predatory looks towards Joker, only 3 had looks of cooperation. It was time for the second event. Those who reached the top merely encounter fresh new hardships. Midnight started. And the kids who have enrolled here will hear it countless times. Plus ultra. To the boy who placed first in the preliminaries gets 10 million points. Midnight said, causing Joker to gulp before a hand was placed on his shoulder from Yamakumo. The time limit is 15 minutes. The point value of each group's headband is worth the total point accumulation of each of the warhorse's members. And the one to wear the headband will be the warhorse's rider. Think of him or her as a standard bearer. The rated hero continued. Until time is up, you'll all be fighting and stealing as many of each other's headbands as you can. You may not equip your headband on any area besides above your neck. As more and more headbands are taken, maintaining control of the situation will become more and more demanding. And the most important aspect of our human cavalry game is that even if you should lose your headband or crumble as a horse configuration, you're still not out of the game. So that means... Yairozu started as the others began mumbling to themselves and others. That, with 42 contestants, around 10 to 12 horses will be on the battlefield the entire time? Sato asked for confirmation. In other words, there's no need to get antsy if your group's headband is taken once, right? Ashido asked the frog girl. But if you don't have your eyes on the breakup of the points everyone's gaining and losing, you won't be able to judge properly, Mina, Ajui said as she gave her a curious look. Are you okay? I'm fine, she said, but then again, the same question could be asked for the others of Class 1A. The day after the USJ incident, she went straight to DS1, in hopes of solving some concerns with Izuku, but he wasn't there, nor may he ever be there again. They were all shaken up due to the villain attack, and they had to take a day to rest. The way Present Mike said they easily shrugged them off. All lies made to make the audience safer, especially with the new generation of hero kids. Quirks are of course allowed, so I want to see some fine brutality out there. That being said, this is still just a human cavalry battle game. If you attack any other group with the malicious aim of breaking them up, that's a red card and you're forced to sit out the rest of the game, Midnight said, cracking her whip. Alright, you now have 15 minutes until then. Start negotiating your team UPS. Joker immediately raised his hand. Since I have the 10 million points, does that mean I have to be the rider? Or can I hand that off? You can hand the rider position to someone else, Midnight said as she already saw that all the non-hero course students had already grouped together. Fukudashi, are you related to that hero course kid? Izuku asked, causing Joker to sigh before looking up to the stands as a woman gave him the thumbs up. Is that Ms. Joke? Yes, Joker said. Manga is my cousin on my father's side while I'm related to Ms. Joke on my mother's side. The more you know, Izuku mumbled. Now let's discuss our positions. Right. The 3 nodded. Hatsum, Joker, how do you feel about being at the back? Izuku said. Hatsum nodded, as did Joker after a while. Good, Hatsum, do you reckon you can give Joker one of your hover saws? I can. Good, now we need to discuss who shall be our rider. Izuku brought up. Shinso's quirk will be useful in getting headbands. But I can't use my quirk while in the front, especially with my hands full. I don't need to be the rider in order to use my quirk, Shinso said. You can take it. However, the thing is I also want to keep my quirk hidden till the final event, but I'm afraid it can't be helped. If you want the rider position, say so now or otherwise, take it already. You sure? He asked as the blue-haired teen nodded. Okay, Joker, make sure to have those grenades ready. The rider told the clown, who nodded as he now had the right hove sole on his leg. Here, Hatsum said as she held up a jetpack. This will help with our hover saws too. Izuku took the jetpack and put it on. You guys ready? He asked as he got agreement from all 3 of them. Then let's go get our headband. 10 minutes have passed. Midnight said as she stretched. We'll be starting any moment now. Now shout out your war cries and fire the signal. President Mike announced as the second event was now underway. May the blood on the rocks be washed by yet more blood. Now's the time for U.A's deadly feud. Let's do it. Let's start the countdown to this vicious clash. 3, just one target, said Todoroki, looking in the direction of the 10 million points. 2, they're all going to come at us, all at once, Izuku said. We can easily get through to the next round if we just evade. But Shinso, we're counting on you. Hell, leave it to me. 1, Joker gulped as everyone was ready to run to them. We might have to fly early. Hatsum grinned. Start! And they were off. And by off I mean right at Team Million. Knew it. The rider of said team grinned. Execute the Joestar secret technique. Not so fast. Hananuki then used his quirk softness to make the ground to make it like quicksand. In response to this, Izuku activated the jetpack as Joker and Hatsum activated their hover saws as they flew over the competition. Damn those support course! After them! Shouted Tetsu. Jiraiya had sent her earlobes in response before Izuku reached around and grabbed same earlobe. He then began whispering into the earphone jack of her ear before letting go. Her team had no idea why she was red and stopped moving. After landing on the ground, they made sure to keep their distance from the others. Your baby works amazingly well, Hatsum, right? She beamed as Shinso huffed. Guys, we got incoming targets. Have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Not even 2 minutes have elapsed and already we have a melee of tumultuous proportions on our hands. Anywhere you rest your eyes, there's 2 teams vying for and stealing each other's headbands. After all, it's a fine strategy to aim for 2nd to 4th place headbands instead of the big 10 million. President Mike shouted, resulting in a glare from Aizawa due to how loud the man shouted. A team consisting of Bakugo, Mina, Siro and Kirishima came right at them, with Bakugo abandoning the warhorse and used his quirk to fly straight at him. The rider can detach from the horse? Shouted President Mike. That's allowed? It's only a technical, so it's okay, Midnight said. The rider's just not allowed to plant his or her feet on the ground. Well, if that's the case, I'll be back. Izuku jumped from the horse and activated the jetpack as he headed towards Bakugo. As they flew towards one another, Bakugo swung his fist ready to explode and take the headband before Izuku boosted up with his jetpack. He kicked the back of the explosion quirk user down before he was caught by a tape to prevent him from touching the ground. Izuku slowed down and was landed back on his warhorse as Monoma came towards them. Insult him, Shinso! Monoma seemed to have copied Tetsu's steel quirk as Shinso grinned. Really? A copy quirk? He asked. You're nothing without another person's quirk. Just an inferior copy, he smoothly said. What Ash? As soon as Monoma opened his mouth, his eyes blanked. Give me your headbands, Shinso said as Monoma handed over the headband which Izuku took. What did you? Asked Subiraba before his eyes blanked too. Drop your rider onto the floor. And so Subiraba did. He dropped the copy quirk user as they ran away. As long as we keep this up, we're golden. There's less than a minute on the clock, President Mike shouted. The non-hero team was now surrounded by 2 teams. Todoroki and Kendo, both prepared to take his headband. Joker, unleash the comedy bomb. Joker pulled out one of the grenades he had. He then threw the flash. Cover your eyes. The team covered their eyes with the exception of Hatsum due to her goggles. Move forward now, Hatsum called. Put them to sleep, Yamakumo ordered as he regained his vision. On it, shouted Joker as he threw the sleep gas behind him towards the enemy teams behind him. Izuru let out a sigh before he turned his head just as a long tongue shot past him and took the headbands around his neck. I missed. Azui said she brought back the headbands that used to be Monoma's while purple orbs were thrown from the back of Shuji. They don't stop coming, boss, Shinso said. Hey you little pervert, HUH-. And like before, my Netta stopped working. Give us back the headbands. There seemed to be a scuffle going on top of Shuji as they ran while Bakugo came back for seconds. Be a clown, won't you? Joker nodded as he pulled out his final one, the laughing gas. Why so serious? The clown shouted as he threw the laughing gas, and laughter could be heard. And why did Bakugo sounded like he had just killed someone? Their cognitive and motor skills are now impaired due to laughing. Not the same as Ms. Joke's quirk, but pretty close. Now quickly, fly. Shinso shouted, seeing the insulator sheet Yaoyorozu created. Using the hover saws, the 10 million point team had taken to the skies a second time. As they approached the ground, Bakugo was already flying at them with Todoroki freezing the landing area. And that's time! President Mike shouted as Team Millions slowed their descent. Now let's see how is in our top 4. Bakugo cursed as he landed on the floor. In first place is Team Joker. In second place is Team Todoroki. In third it's Team Bakugo, and finally, in fourth place, is Team Tetsu. President Mike announced. These 4 teams will move on to the final event. The event will be after an hour's lunch break. See you then. Izuku turned to face Joker, Shinso and Hatsum. They stared at each other for a while before blood shot out of his mouth. Let's get lunch. The 4 ate at a table as 2 of Shinso's classmates came over and congratulated him on getting into the finals. Then they walked back onto the field after lunch and saw the girls of Class A in cheerleading uniforms. What? It seems like they were tricked. All right, everyone, compete your hearts out, recreation. And after that, it's the final event, President Mike said as Aizawa was sleeping in the chair next to him. From 4 teams, 16 individuals have made it through. It's a tournament. We're pitting them against each other in one-on-one combat. Joker really didn't like the bloodthirsty grin on Yamakumo's face. So it's a tournament, huh? We'll be standing on the same stage we see on TV every year. Kirishima grinned. Oh, wasn't it a tournament last year too? I forget. Ashido asked. The system changes a bit each year, but typically there'll be similar one-on-one competitions. Siro answered. All right, now I'll determine who fights through this lottery. Once the matchups are decided, we'll do a fun bit of recreation, and then we'll commence. Midnight said as she held up a box. Whether or not the 16 who will be competing want to join in on the recreation activities is up to you. Since I'm sure that many of you will probably want to take a breather or preserve your strength. And then, the matchups were decided. Siro vs Todoroki, Kaminari vs Shiozaki, Hatsum vs Ida, Hananuki vs Awaze, Bakugo vs Kirishima, Ashido vs Yaoyorozu, Shinso vs Joker, Yamakumo vs Tetsu. It seems we up against each other, Joker said as he read the board. However, despite how the matches were set up, that wasn't the real order of the tournament, just the matchups of who was fighting who. If I win against this Tetsu fellow, then Endeavor's pet project is my next opponent. Izuku didn't bother to hide his smile as he went to find Tetsu. Excuse me, are you Tetsu? He asked the teen with silver hardened-like hair and metal-like eyebrows. Yeah, you Yamakumo? He asked as Izuku nodded and held out his hand. Nice to meet you. I hope I'll give you a good fight. Tetsu smirked. Likewise, Yamakumo. He grinned. Sorry, buddy, but I'm taking you down. Izuku smiled. Okay, so now let's put the tournament on hold for a moment and enjoy some fine recreation. Izuku did partake in one event. The scavenger hunt, something sexy, he read. Where was he going to find? Oh, meanwhile, Midnight stood to the side before Yamakumo walked up. Yes, Yamakumo? She asked as he just took her wrist. He brought her right to the item booth to check to see if he passed. He did. Now the battleground was ready. After Cementos created the ring, President Mike announced the fight. First up was Kaminari vs Shiozaki, which didn't take long due to the electric user being tangled in Shiozaki's vines and wasting his electricity. Next was Hananuki vs Awaze, which lasted a bit longer, but in the end, it ended in Hananuki's favor due to his softness quirk. Now it was the third fight with Ashido vs Yaoyorozu. Meanwhile, back at the bar, in Tomura's room, Tomura had been watching the sports festival. He only watched for 2 reasons. Reason 1, Izuku. Reason 2, Sensei. These people will be the future enemies you and Izuku have to face, Sensei said. Izuku is just going to wipe the floor with them. True, plus he is only limited to 1 quirk, Sensei brought up. Now watch. The first 2 fights may have been quick, but their quirks can be impressive. The third fight begun as Yaoyorozu creating many different objects, but it was useless against the acid that melted through them. The fight was a close one as Ashido could change what her acid could do from just irritating to oh my god my skin's melting. However, in the end, the victory had went to Ashido, mainly due to her acid preventing Yaoyorozu from creating any more, especially on a slippery floor. Izuku didn't even blink as he watched the fights. He took them all in very carefully. Shiozaki had sent her vines out immediately as the match began and wrapped around Kaminari, who panicked and let all his electricity go and became an idiot. And it did nothing to Shiozaki. Hananuki was actually quite similar. At the beginning of the match, he turned the ground beneath Awaze soft and had immediately immobilized his classmate. Awaze couldn't do anything because of his quirk Weld. Weld couldn't pull him out of a floor that was like quicksand. The third fight was interesting and longer than the previous 2 that was over in nearly a second. Yaoyorozu could only manage to create small items, as the bigger the item she was creating, the more time she needed. Ashido easily got the upper hand the further the fight kept going as long as she was on the assault. Now, the fourth fight was about to begin. Shinso versus Joker. I surrender, said Joker as the fight began. Ha! The chief referee looked at her student. She was proud that they made it this far, but she was a bit surprised that he surrendered. Shinso already knows how I tick, and it won't be long before I slip up and fall for his quirk, he said. Besides, I got into the third event and that's good enough for me. And even if I do win, I don't think I can beat him who made a declaration to be first. Joker looked over at Izuru, who watched as he walked off stage as Shinso advanced to the next round. Joker was right though. One slip up and he was brainwashed. These fights are going faster than expected, he thought to himself as Hatsum and Ida were up next. What was Ida wearing? It was one of Hatsum's babies. And the direction she was looking, she was just showing off her inventions to the companies watching the fight as she listed off more features as she dodged the strikes from Ida. It was just hilarious to watch. She smirked at seeing the company employees' intrigued look. Now I have no regrets, she said as she walked off the battlefield as Ida's jaw dropped in disbelief. Izuku sighed. That was definitely something she would do. He just hoped the next fight will actually be a fight. Speaking of which, it was Bakuga versus Kirishima. And then the bloodbath began. Kirishima hardened using his quirk as Bakuga used his explosion quirk. Kirishima got some good hits as Bakuga's explosion practically did nothing. See counter! The loud hero announced as Kirishima punched Bakuga in the face as the ash blonde landed an explosion on the hardened red head. He ain't even stumbling, Bakuga thought as he slid back. Figures he ain't just got tough skin. I told you it doesn't work, blast him explode. Kirishima grinned. Bakuga went on the defensive as Kirishima threw punch after punch at blast him explode. H! Kirishima screamed as he held his side. Ow, IT connected? Present Mike shouted. Bakuga had blasted Kirishima's side. Yo, fuckface, don't tell me you haven't been keeping up that full body armor for way too long. He grinned savagely. So if I keep wailing on you with quick strikes while you're in that state, some part's gonna give sooner or later. Bakuga then released a barrage of explosions at Kirishima before sending the red head away with a single shout of die. And with that, Kirishima was knocked out. Kirishima is now down. So much for that explosive resistant wall, the cockatiel said. And now, for the next fight. Todoroki versus Zero. Coming up next. Don't tune out now, folks. As Todoroki and Zero got up to fight, Zero stretched. I don't know if I've got a shot here, but... He suddenly shot out his tape from his elbows and wrapped around Todoroki as soon as the match started. I definitely ain't rolling over, either. Sorry, said Todoroki, who looked pretty bored, and then for Zero, he was frozen in, while ice. The ice he was frozen in was large, way too large, and almost getting the people in the stands, and like a majority of the first round fights, lasted less than a second. Everyone had their jaws dropped. Even present Mike had shut up for a good solid minute. A little much, don't you think? Zero asked as his head was the only part not frozen. Zero, can you move? Asked Midnight, whose whole right side was frozen. No, Hanta Zero is unable to move. Sorry, Zero, Todoroki said as he unfroze Zero. I was just a little pissed. Don't worry about it. Meanwhile, waiting for his fight next, Izuku grinned. Now that will be an enjoyable fight. He wondered if Sensei would think that the ice half would be strong enough. But now it was time for his fight. His fight against Tetsutetsu. If he had a bit too much bloody fun, he could always say that he inherited his sensei's, Midnight's, sadism. Despite her sex appeal, she definitely had looks of a complete sadist. He just happened to accidentally adopt her sadistic side is all. Izuku walked to the stage, ready to fight. And all the way, on the way to the stage, he had a bloodthirsty grin on his face. The face of a villain. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating what-if scenario of Deku. The possibilities were truly mind-blowing. If you found this video entertaining and thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to bring you more captivating content in the future. Stay tuned for more exciting what-if stories and other amazing videos coming your way. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep embracing the power of imagination.